This lawyer was caught smuggling things for his clients. This couple opted for a side of crime with their Uber. We also have an update on the anti-vax mom who was selling fake vaccination cards. This guy decided to rob a bank to get away from his wife, but instead the judge gave him a punishment worse than jail. And this kid knew exactly what he found and decided to give it to the police. Let's start off with number 6, White Glove Attorney Service. Daniel Dale, an attorney from Mississippi, was charged with smuggling banned items into a Hinds County detention center. Dale allegedly posed as legal counsel for detainees, using this role to sneak in various banned items, including cell phones, tobacco products, and various other prohibited items. During a routine visit, officials caught him with a silver briefcase jam-packed with all his little treats, leading to his arrest, and ultimately exposing a large scheme to provide prohibited items to inmates. When he was arrested, Dale appeared visibly disheveled, wearing a gray suit with his tie loosened and a hilariously anxious expression. He looks like some kind of stock photo of a shady lawyer who just got caught misbehaving. Authorities took this incident seriously, noting that someone in Dale's position is expected to uphold the law and protect the rights of those he represents. By bringing prohibited items into jail, they say he compromised both the safety and the integrity of the detention facility. The situation unraveled as an investigation revealed that Dale wasn't acting alone. He had allegedly conspired with 2 detainees, William Harness Jr. and Marcel Martin, both of whom were held on serious charges. This only makes the fact that Dale was smuggling things to them that much worse. As of the release of this video, needless to say, Dale is facing several charges. The ongoing investigation may reveal even more details and potentially add further charges for everyone involved. With a $75,000 bond set, Dale's legal journey has only just begun. It makes you wonder what Dale was really getting out of this deal. He risked a 20-year law career and his freedom for what exactly? Sure, not every lawyer is rolling in cash, but it's hard to believe he was hurting for money enough to justify something like this. But then again, maybe it was just about the cash. The guy does give off a bit of a strange vibe, doesn't he? He's like a real-life Lionel Hutz. Number 5, The Takeover. Mariah Williams and Manny Diaz-Massa's night began with a typical Uber ride, but it ended with both of them facing serious charges after things went off the rails. What should have been a routine drop-off escalated quickly, leading to accusations of attempted robbery, a dangerous confrontation, and a high-stakes getaway. Williams was taken into custody with her bond set at $35,000, and Diaz-Massa was arrested shortly afterward, leaving everyone asking, how did a simple ride turn into this ordeal? The situation began one late November night in Houston, when the Uber driver, Daniel Tahiri, finished dropping off 4 passengers at their destination. Unexpectedly, one passenger demanded an additional ride to another location. When Tahiri refused, possibly due to Uber's safety guidelines or his own concerns, things quickly took a darker turn. Police say that Diaz-Massa allegedly threatened Tahiri, demanding his keys and phone. When Tahiri refused to comply, things quickly took a turn as a firearm was reportedly discharged. Fortunately, all the rounds missed. None of the suspects managed to take Tahiri's vehicle, and they all fled the scene soon after. After the investigation, both Williams and Diaz-Massa were identified as the primary suspects. Though both suspects are now in custody, as of the release of this video, the legal proceedings are still underway, and no additional information has been made public regarding case outcomes. We're not too sure what the overall plan was here. They were mad that the driver wouldn't take them someplace, so they just started blasting away? They didn't take the car, they didn't rob anyone, they just started popping off rounds in some sort of bizarre tantrum. It seems like it would have been easier to just call another Uber and wait a bit. But hey, that's just us. Number 4, anti-vaxxer mom update. Jasmine Clifford, a New Jersey resident known online as Anti-Vax Mama, was back in court following a complex scheme where she sold fake COVID-19 vaccination cards, Clifford previously pled guilty, admitting to distributing hundreds of phony CDC cards for $200 each, and even went as far as getting her buyers falsely registered in a New York vaccination database. Living large on the profits, Clifford kept an active presence on social media, showing off a flashy lifestyle in her 5-star Shih Tzu. While managing her underground business, she accepted payments through popular apps such as Cash App and Zelle, capitalizing on those looking for a quick way to get around vaccination requirements. This isn't the first time Clifford's case made headlines. After serving time at Rikers Island, she was released early in 2022, but returned to court to finalize her sentencing. But here's the crazier thing. She legit brought her young children to the courthouse without making alternative arrangements, a move that seemed to delay the procedures even further. We get that sometimes it's difficult to find childcare, and it can definitely be expensive. But seriously, why would she want her children to see her in court? It feels, to us, more like she was trying to use her kids to manipulate the judge, which is wrong on so many levels. The judge in Clifford's case questioned the fairness of her felony charges, pointing out that her non-violent offense received harsher treatment than some more severe cases. So, in an unusual move, her defense team agreed to the prosecution's minimum sentence recommendation of 1 to 3 years, with time already served at Rikers Island to be counted toward her sentence. Since Clifford had already been in jail from her August 2021 arrest until her release in early 2022, the judge ultimately credited this time, so Clifford didn't end up needing to serve additional prison time. We're a bit mixed on this, given that the vaccine was such a controversial topic a few years ago, with strong opinions on both sides. Should she have served more time? Number 3. Escape from home. Lawrence John Ripple from Kansas made headlines when he attempted a bank robbery, not for financial gain, but to get away from his own home. Ripple, 70, entered the Bank of Labor near Kansas City Police Headquarters with a note that read he had a weapon and was demanding cash. But instead of fleeing, he chose to stay in the bank lobby and wait for police, hoping his plan would lead him straight to jail. Ripple's unconventional motivation came after a difficult period in his life. Following a heart bypass surgery in 2015, he battled undiagnosed depression. On the day of the incident, he even wrote the note in front of his wife, blatantly saying that he'd rather be in jail than stay at home with her. This cry for help, as his lawyer described it, led him to commit his first criminal act despite an otherwise law-abiding life as a husband and stepfather. After taking nearly $3,000, Ripple's willingness to get caught and his cooperation led to a somewhat sympathetic view from those involved. The bank's vice president and teller even supported a lighter sentence due to his mental health struggles. During sentencing, Ripple expressed that he had since sought help and felt like himself again. In a surprising turn, rather than jail, Ripple was given 6 months of house arrest, a ruling that backfired on his original plan. He was also assigned 3 years of probation, 50 hours of community service, and restitution payments, including a small sum to the bank for the employee's time. It's actually sad that Lawrence thought the only way he could get a break from his wife was to go to jail. It makes you wonder what on earth was going on at his house that pushed him to that limit. We're glad that no one was hurt and that he's apparently doing better. But ironically, his plan ultimately forced him to spend more time with his wife, not less. Number 2, no accountability. You might remember when we covered Amit Patel, a former financial manager for the Jacksonville Jaguars, who was convicted for stealing $22 million from the team, which was almost as bad a theft as when they signed Nick Foles back in 2017. Almost. Anyway, after diverting the funds, Patel gambled away millions on FanDuel, chasing high-stakes bets with every dollar. Now, in an update to that case, Patel is attempting to sue FanDuel for $250 million from his prison cell, alleging that the sportsbook exploited his gambling problem. Because, obviously, it's their fault. Patel's lawsuit paints a vivid picture of the lengths FanDuel allegedly went to keep him spending. Patel claimed that the company offered him millions in credits, extravagant trips to the Super Bowl and the Masters, and even custom incentives. According to Patel, a FanDuel VIP host regularly reached out, sometimes over 100 times a day, pushing him to bet. They allegedly offered deals like $60,000 in credits for every $600,000 he deposited, conveniently splitting these credits into smaller payments to bypass team compliance checks. Patel argues that FanDuel's encouragement went beyond the norm, especially considering his status as a NFL team employee, a role prohibiting him from gambling on the league. Patel's attorney claims the suit isn't just about holding him accountable, but also about FanDuel's role in fueling his gambling. They hope this case could set a precedent to deter companies from incentivizing those with gambling issues in the future. While FanDuel has refrained from commenting on the lawsuit, the Jaguars are also seeking restitution, filing a separate case against Patel and requesting FanDuel to cover the losses. As of the release of this video, Patel is still serving his 6.5 years in a South Carolina federal prison. It seems almost absurd that Patel is genuinely trying to pin his lack of self-control on a gambling website. No one forced him to go gamble away millions, much less embezzle from the team. Yet, FanDuel certainly seemed to go above and beyond to keep him spending, raising questions about companies and their advertising methods. FanDuel would likely argue they were merely incentivizing, which is true, but the extent of their involvement feels more like manipulation, doesn't it? This leads to a bigger question. At what point do ads stop being just ads and become direct manipulation, designed to make people act in ways they wouldn't otherwise? When does the line blur between brainwashing and personal responsibility? Number 1. Family responsibility. In Las Vegas, Nevada, Kendra Long, a 45-year-old mother, has been sentenced after a series of legal troubles linked to possession and distribution. Her journey through the justice system has unfolded over the past 2 years, starting with a heartbreaking encounter when her 9-year-old son handed police a large bag of illegal substances he found in their $430,000 home. This shocking moment would become the first in a string of arrests and probation violations for Long, leading to her ultimate incarceration. The case began when Long's son, finding the illegal substances under her nightstand, took it straight to the authorities. He was visibly shaken, meeting the officers at the door with a bag in hand. Despite his young age, he understood enough to make a call to his father, Tony, who then took immediate action. As officers investigated, Long initially claimed no knowledge of the items her son had found, but the evidence was enough to lead to her first arrest. She was charged, and after posting bail, she was given a suspended sentence and placed on probation. However, Long's compliance didn't last. A few months later, Long was accused of violating her probation when officers discovered additional legal substances in her possession, prompting a closer look at her activities. To avoid further jail time, she entered a treatment program, as required by her probation conditions. However, during a routine compliance check, officers uncovered another stash, leading to her third arrest. This time, her probation officer found not only more illegal substances, but also other different controlled substances and related equipment. During this period, her ex-husband, Anthony Cruz, fought for custody of their son, raising concerns about Long's repeated involvement with illegal activity. He expressed frustration with the justice system, feeling that Long had been granted leniency despite clear evidence of her behavior. According to Cruz, Long's actions went beyond personal use, which is problematic on its own, and pointed to a larger distribution operation. His persistence paid off, as he was granted full custody of their son, who had been tragically caught in the middle of his mother's legal issues. Following her latest probation violation, Long faced additional charges, leading Judge Erica Mendoza to revoke her probation entirely. As of the release of this video, Long faces a 30-month prison sentence, with parole eligibility after 1 year, marking a turning point in a case that spanned multiple violations, arrests, and courtroom proceedings. Long remains in the Clark County Detention Center, where she awaits her next legal steps. That poor kid, though. Imagine being in 4th grade, already handling the difficulty of your parents' separation, and then being the reason your mom ends up in jail. That was an incredibly brave and impossible decision he made. Hopefully, he's got a stable home with his dad, but still, that's a tough road for any kid. It makes you wonder why, after the first time she was arrested, Long had custody of her son at all. Click to watch one of these next videos.